Hey, I'm Alyssa the College Expert. I've been getting kids into college since 2006. Today I'm going to debunk the top 5 myths of the Ivy League. Before I begin, please subscribe and hit the notification bell to turn on notifications. Did you know? There are not just the 8 Ivy League colleges, but there's also little Ivies and Ivy adjacent. So there's no definitive list of little Ivies or Ivy adjacent colleges, but Ivy adjacent you could think of as like MIT, Stanford, big universities that people mention in the same breath with Ivies, but aren't necessarily Ivy League colleges. Sometimes when I make videos about Ivy Leagues and I will reference like MIT or Stanford, people will put in the comments, those aren't Ivy League colleges. And I'm like, you're right. They're absolutely not. They're Ivy adjacent and they have the same criteria to get in as Ivy League. So from my perspective and my students' perspective, same thing. Little Ivies are small liberal arts colleges, Amherst, Swarthmore, Haverford, small colleges that give an incredibly good, high standard education. So today we're going to talk about the top 5 myths about applying to the Ivy Leagues. Also, if you need help thinking about how to get into the Ivies, check out my video, How to Get into Ivy League Colleges. It spells out and has some great tips and has been getting some great comments. People are like, wow, I actually learned something from this video. So myth number 1, I won't get any money. Not true. I make too much and I'm never going to qualify for financial aid at an Ivy. Okay, so I ran the net price calculator with a $200,000 combined income and a $300,000 combined income. I was working with some families that were closer to those numbers and they were like, I don't think I'm going to get any money. And I was like, let's see. So I pulled up Yale's net price calculator. I used Yale because they made 100% of need. And so they're a good sort of barometer and the net price calculator is pretty easy to use. If you haven't used a net price calculator up to this point, Google the name of the school that you're interested in and net price calculator, and it'll pop up the one that is individualized for that specific school. They're going to ask you a lot of what feel like really invasive questions about your finances, but what they will end up giving you as a result is kind of a snapshot of exactly how much money they will give you given your current financial situation. So if you're like, I'm not sure how much money I'm going to get from a school, you can actually figure it out by going to the net price calculator and putting in information about your own financial situation. Okay, so I ran the net price calculator for $200K. Assuming that the sticker price of Yale is $79,000, let's say $80,000 for round numbers, they expect you to pay $37,000. So basically, you're paying less than half. They're shaving off $42,000 and you're paying only $37,000. Pretty good. Now, $300,000. Okay, that was a bit higher. So they have an expected family contribution. That's how much they expect you to pay of $67,000. And sticker price, again, is $79.80. So they're shaving off about $12,000, which is like not bad. You're making $300,000 and you're still not paying full price for school. So what I think a lot of folks don't realize is how few people they actually expect to pay full price for school. They do not expect regular people to pay full price for school. Even up to $300,000, they don't expect it. Really use the net price calculator and figure out what you can actually afford. You can also figure out how much you need to save. You can put in all of your information, all of your financial information. It will tell you likely how much you will have to spend. And then you can go to a savings calculator, put that goal in for the period of time when your child is going through freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, senior year. Say, okay, this is how much I need to have saved by that time. How much do I need to save between now and then to get up to that? I mean, it's literally just calculators. Myth number 2, to get into an Ivy League college, I have to have perfect scores and a perfect GPA. Not true. They take all kinds of people who don't have perfect scores and a perfect GPA. I have a friend who interviews for Harvard. The things that she's looking for are not perfection. They are being able to carry on a conversation and go deep in the conversation and being an interesting person and seeming interested in many things. They are not looking for perfection. And you know why? Because they can get it. Because there are so many people in their hand who have perfect scores and a perfect GPA. And they're like, nah, we got so many of those. Let's get the interesting people. So your best bet is actually to be interesting, but please do not be put off if you don't have perfect scores and a perfect GPA. If you're going to a school that the admissions committee would perceive as underfunded or under-resourced, you do not have to have the same GPA and SAT scores as is published online. Please know that and talk to your college access person, your college counselor, about what scores and GPA you need to have in order to consider applying. Myth number 3, I'll get more merit money if I have higher scores. So piece of information. The Ivy Leagues actually don't give merit money, and neither does any highly selective college. They do what's called meeting 100% of need. So if you meet 100% of need, that means that they assess how much money your family can pay based on how much money your parents make. Let's imagine that your parents make $100,000. They're going to look at that and they're going to say, okay, your parents together make $100,000, that means that you can afford to pay $20,000 a year, whatever the number is. I'm just making up a number right now. That's the number that you have to pay. But it doesn't matter. Higher scores will get you more money. And so once you get in, you get put into that same need calculator as everybody else. So there's only one calculator. So now, where does merit money actually exist? Merit money exists with schools that don't meet 100% of need. So they're going to give you merit money. And so they're having higher scores and a higher GPA will get you merit money. That doesn't start until you get down to the schools that don't meet 100% of need. So you might be wondering, how do I get this list of no-loan colleges? We're going to share it with you in the description. One other thing that you want to look for besides no-loan colleges are no-loan colleges with thresholds. So for instance, Colgate University does not give loans under $175,000. So that means that if your parents make $175,000 or less, you will get a package that has no loans. Haverford, no loans under $60,000. Lafayette College, no loans under $150,000. So there's also a list of that, which we will also share in the description. Okay, myth number 4, all Ivy League colleges are equally hard to get into. Not true. The best way to figure this out is check acceptance rates. And when you check acceptance rates, here's the thing that a lot of people don't know. You want to check the difference between early decision and regular decision. So acceptance rates differ sometimes by 10%. So I've seen a lot of, this is a fun thing for me. I look at early decision acceptance rates and regular decision acceptance rates for the Ivy Leagues. I have seen the disparity as much as early decision being around 15% and regular decision being around 3%. So what does that say to you? You were 5 times more likely to get in if you apply early, right? So should you apply early? Yes, definitely. The only situation in which you shouldn't apply early is if you have to say yes to the financial aid and you're not sure if you can pay. Since all of the Ivies meet 100% of need, generally you can apply to them knowing that you'll get the need-based aid that you will require. So I wouldn't worry about that. I would say it's pretty safe to apply to any of the Ivies early decision. And if you want to get in, you should apply early. But remember, with early decision, you can only apply to one. So what I would do is, if you don't care that much about a specific school and you just want to go Ivy, look at all of the admissions rates for all of the Ivies and pick the one that has the highest admissions rate and make that your ED target because you're most likely to get in there. I would just run the numbers. Did you know? There were originally 9 colonial colleges, which are almost the same as the colleges of the Ivy League. Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Columbia, UPenn, Brown, Dartmouth. So the only one that isn't there, Cornell, which was founded a lot later. But also the other 2 colonial colleges that are not Ivy League are William and Mary and Rutgers. So those 2 colleges became public colleges. So not Ivy League, because the Ivy Leagues are all private colleges. A lot of people get confused because they say, oh, University of Pennsylvania, that's a public college. University of Pennsylvania is a private college. Penn State is a public college. So public means that they get money from the state or the federal government, where UPenn does not. Myth number 5, Ivy League colleges are too expensive for me to attend. I don't have that kind of money. Well, guess what? Almost no one pays sticker price. The only people who are paying sticker price are people whose parents are making enough that they can afford it. So remember myth number 1, when I was talking about I won't get any money, almost everybody below a certain income threshold gets money if you apply for it. Don't think that you won't get any money. Think instead, you just need to know exactly how much money you're going to get and plan ahead. And we know how to do that. Look at the net price calculator and then figure out how much you need to save every day, every week, every month in order to get to that savings goal ultimately. Today, we debunked the top 5 myths about Ivy League. So tell me, what kind of issues are you worried about as you apply to college? What kinds of questions do you still have that are unanswered that I can answer in the next video? Also, a bunch of people have been reaching out and saying, how do I apply to college? Pick my targets, reaches, and safeties. Help me write my essay. If you are interested in working with me and figuring out how to optimize to be your best version of yourself to really impress colleges, drop me a line. Let me know. I'm happy to help and would love to work with you too. Don't forget to subscribe and see you next time.